For more now on that mid-air emergency which left 50 people injured after a sudden drop on a flight from Sydney to Auckland. Here to share his experience live from Auckland is passenger Brian Jocat. Brian, good morning to you. When I saw this yesterday, it absolutely shocked me. What was it like to be on board?
Yeah, it was right out of the scene out of a movie, and unless you were kind of strapped in, you were kind of all over the shop. There were bodies flying to the top of the plane past me. I didn't really clock. I thought I was dreaming at first, and I was woken out of a sleep to find the gentleman next to me hovering above me on the ceiling of the plane. It was surreal.
How long? Just explain that in more detail. So you're taking a nap and you come out of it. Was there a jolt? Just explain what happened and then the aftermath with passengers.
Apparently, the plane dropped over 500 feet in an instant, and the nose started to head south. So it was almost like getting to the top of a roller coaster, and you kind of you're headed down, and it felt. At that point, I thought, this is it. I mean, there was chaos going on all around us, and yeah, it was surreal. It was like it was in a movie that you see in a movie, and it's happening real time.
So the guy who was next to you ends up on the roof. How long did all that last, and what happened afterwards?
Well, I opened my eyes and I looked up, and he was like, for that split second, he was above me, and then he came crashing down, and that's when I knew I wasn't in a dream. And then people were crying, they were emotional, they were screaming. We had passengers on board that were doctors that kind of immediately took action, which was very, very noble of them, and they were going up and down the aisles treating cuts and bruises and putting neck splints on for people who had neck injuries. It was pretty traumatic.
It's a shocking number of people to be treating as well.
Yes, because you're only aware of what's going on around you, and the plane is fairly large, so whatever happened around us was happening elsewhere on the plane. So yeah, it was.
How were the
flight attendants?
Yeah, how were the flight crew?
There's 3 flight crew that couldn't even walk. They were damaged so badly. So. Yeah, the next 45 minutes taking it home was pretty tense.
Was there any explanation? Did you find out from the other passengers as to why the plane may have gone through that sudden movement, as it was explained by the company?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as we touched down in Auckland, the pilot came to the rear of the plane, which was, I thought, quite interesting on its own, and I personally approached him and said, what was that? I said, that was not turbulence. And he basically said to me that his instrument gauges went black for a split second and just cut out.
Wow.
And then he said it kicked in again, and that's when the plane kind of straightened out and continued.
We had an aviation expert, Richard de Crepney, a very experienced pilot who came on before, and he said maybe there was a storm, maybe there was a sudden downdraft. Was there any of that kind of feeling?
Nothing, because there was no, as you go into a turbulence, you normally get notified. The seatbelt light comes on, the announcement says, please take your seats, no drinks served, don't go to the bathrooms, etc., etc. This was like out of nowhere, and the people that flew and hit the ceiling. I mean, the ceiling panels were broken in the plane. Like there was 5 or 6 in my compartment alone, where you could see the wiring in the top of the plane like exposed because of the ceiling was absolutely came out of their attachments.
How do you go flying again after that?
I'll tell you in 2 weeks.
All right. I look forward to that. I'm glad you're all right, but for dozens of others, that's been a horrible ordeal. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a few people sore today, I'm sure, but I got out of jail free on that one.
Good on you, mate. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah, buckle up. Thank you. Welcome back. Well, a Sydney to Auckland flight has left dozens of people injured, with some taken to hospital after what was described as a technical issue.
Passengers were thrown around the plane after a sudden drop mid-flight, but ultimately the aircraft landed safely at Auckland Airport. Here to explain, we'll try to, former Qantas pilot Richard de Crespigny. Richard, good morning to you. Nice to see you again. What sort of hell did they go through?
Well, to have your head going through the upper lockers, to have your body flat against the roof means, one, you didn't have your seatbelt fastened, and there's been severe turbulence. Caused maybe because the aircraft had a fault mechanically, maybe a hydraulic failure, maybe a flight control failure. Unlikely, the 787s are really good. Fantastic aircraft with a great history of safety. It could be turbulence in the upper atmosphere, which is possible, but it's not normally that rough. It's possible they inadvertently flew into a thunderstorm where there are updrafts and downdrafts. That's possible. That's my gut feeling.
Aren't they supposed to skirt around thunderstorms like that? And would that be termed a technical issue?
You should. Sometimes you have to battle through, but if you battled through a line of thunderstorms, you tell everyone to rig for rough running and put their seatbelts on.
The peculiar thing about this was that the airline came out pretty quickly afterwards and described it as a movement. Which the mind boggles
Strong
at.
movement.
Yeah.
Well, to be free falling, or actually to be pushed down, which is the aircraft was, it's a severe movement. It's worse than falling off a cliff. So the aircraft was forced down. People are hitting the roof. So there's some violent action, either by nature, by mistake, or an aircraft problem. When you say it's a technical problem, it doesn't give a whole lot of insight into what really
But
happened.
doesn't this lead to more questions? And more importantly, if it is a technical problem, doesn't Boeing need to get onto it? And don't other airlines need to know that there is an issue that maybe needs sorting out? And I don't think that's been done in this case.
Well, when you get a downdraft like this, if it wasn't the flight controls really don't have the ability to respond this quickly to a downdraft if it was in a thunderstorm. And you've been underneath thunderstorms to know the movements of air. So if you're into one, it's just as severe. I think the airline, LATAM Airlines, is a great airline. I've just done 15 sectors with them in South America. Very good airline. And I think safe. I think there may have been a mistake, and it's always good to be honest. You know, when things go wrong, tell the media everything, because the truth will always come out.
So,
Just very quickly, I know you mentioned it when we had you on last time about an increase in turbulence because of weather activity. Is this one of those, and are we likely to see more of it?
No, I don't think. I don't think the increase is really that dramatic. There's probably 10,000 thunderstorms around the world at any one time, and pilots do a really good job of avoiding them. Sometimes you must fly through them because there's no alternative. Sometimes you fly into them accidentally, and that's. People don't like to admit that, but sometimes mistakes
they're going to
happen.
have to be upfront about what happened, aren't they?
I think so, but look, even if they'd inadvertently flown into the thunderstorm, if people did what you did in your car, fasten a seatbelt just loosely, the seat will protect you. The whole aircraft can fall apart. The seat will will protect you. If all people did is fasten their seatbelts, it says old chestnut, then no one would have been injured.
Well, there you go. That's good advice for everyone at the airports watching us this morning. Good luck with your flight today. Good on you.
Thanks.
Good on you, Captain.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh, my goodness. Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?